how important even just a couple of days working with Jaron Boots Ennis is going to be for Canelo, just to see a bit of the tempo, a bit of that switching of stance, because let's be honest, there's not many guys that Canelo has fought that have fought out of both stances and done it as fluidly as Boots Ennis or as Bud Crawford will do in their fight.
Bien, bien hecho. Bonita finta otra vez ahí. No te la cambias.
Crawford fight, not Crawford. I don't think Boots fight like Crawford at all. That was just some, I think the comparison they was making initially was just as they both were switch hitters and they both could be so naturally. That's really the only thing that they do the same.
The boxing world is buzzing after shocking reports revealed that Canelo Alvarez has been sparring with Jaron Boots Ennis ahead of his highly anticipated showdown with Terence Crawford.
Bien, bien, bien. Dándole la cintura. Bien, bien hecho. Bonita finta otra vez ahí. No te la cambias. Ahí. Suavecito y remate. Otra vez. Y remate rápido. Suavecito y remate. Un pasito atrás y volver.
Fans and analysts see this as a massive statement of intent from Canelo's camp. Former champion Andre Dirrell pointed out that this proves Canelo wants to be razor sharp for September, leaving no room for complacency. Ennis is famous for his speed, explosiveness, and versatility, making him one of the closest possible replicas of Crawford. Bringing Boots into camp shows not only respect for Crawford's skills, but also how seriously Canelo is taking this challenge.
I do believe this is get back on Crawford for not taking the fight with Boots back in 2024 when Boots called him out. But Crawford was on the bigger and better things, baby. That bigger and better things being Canelo Alvarez, September 13th, 2025. Bigger legacy, bigger name, bigger payday, bigger status. So, too little, too late, Boots. But I am looking forward to how you advance in your career after this, because this camp is definitely going to level you up, man. You're going to get better because of it in every aspect. Toughness, skill set, smarts. You're going to get a lot from this camp, champ. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you do because of it. You're already a bad man, dog. I want to see where you take it from here. But Crawford, it's over. I believe he walking away in the sunset, especially if he walk away with the victory, which I'm hoping for. But you, champ, you're going to have to settle for something else. Get Canelo that work, man. He going to need it. He going to need it. According to Roy Jones, Canelo got to be on his A game. You got to be on yours too, man. We looking forward to seeing what you do after this. It's raining on me right now, so I'm going to cut this short, baby. But Boots, get somebody else, champ. Get somebody else. I'm out.
Boxing Orbit shook social media when they posted a picture of Canelo sparring with Jaron Ennis. Their caption read, Canelo Alvarez working with Jaron Ennis ahead of his bout with Terence Crawford on September 13th, igniting reactions across the boxing world. Trainer Greg Hackett believes bringing Boots into camp is one of the boldest decisions in the build-up to the fight. To many, the move looks unusual at first, but Hackett insists there's nothing random about it. Canelo is preparing for an opponent like Crawford, who thrives on ambition, adaptability, and relentless drive. In that sense, sparring with Boots is a calculated attempt to simulate the energy and intensity Crawford brings. Hackett reminds everyone, Ennis is not just another sparring partner. He's one of boxing's brightest young stars. Known for his speed, explosiveness, and hunger, he forces Canelo to stay sharp every single day. What some dismiss as a gimmick, Hackett views as part of a smart, deliberate plan.
Oh, I don't know, because it's things I know about camp and how they want things to go. So is it going to be that way? Is y'all going to try to alter the camp, or is y'all going to let them go? Or, I mean, is y'all looking to still?
Give me the psychology behind both sides. What does Jaron Ennis get from this? What does Canelo Alvarez get from this?
I mean, Jaron Ennis get from it being in with the elite, a guy who's prepared for everything. One thing you can't say about Canelo is that he hasn't seen something. Canelo's seen southpaws, he's seen tall guys, short guys, slick fighters, he's seen bulls, he's been up against everything. So you get a word of experience with a guy like Canelo. You get a guy who's in full confidence with a guy like Canelo. So with that type of boxing, I would see Canelo really not worried about so much of what Boots trying to do to him, but really just paying attention to him. But then it's the same, like, I don't know, I can see Boots kind of like, I think the mindset for Boots would be not only to prove I can hang, but to also be trying to see what will come with this shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but I don't think I would do that. I don't know. It's just me. I just think, the only reason I say that because I think Boots can get that fight. I think Boots can end up in a fight with Canelo. And I'm saying that because, you know, the reason I say I wouldn't do it is because I wouldn't spar you and then here go a year later they fighting. Nah,
I mean, doesn't, for as much as it does for Canelo, it does for Boots, though, right? If that were to be the case.
Yeah, but there's so many ways it could go. And what I'm saying is, if I was to be where Boots is right now, if one thing we can all agree on, everybody hate Boots right now. They mad at Boots, right?
But not everyone is impressed. Jose Benavidez Sr. dismisses the hype, saying that regardless of the headlines, the only thing that matters is fight night. He stresses that fans often overanalyze sparring choices, forgetting they're simply preparation tools. Whether Canelo worked with Boots or anyone else, Crawford remains a completely different beast. For Benavidez Sr., the real results won't come in the gym. They'll come under the lights when it counts.
We're not even like thinking about it anymore, and you were just like, you know, Canelo is slipping and stuff like that. Does it make you kind of rethink Canelo and that Crawford fight to be like, well, he's really taking it serious to bring in a guy like Jaron Ennis?
Well, like I said, you know, I don't really focus on that. You know, we stay in our lane, you know, and try to get better ourselves. And whatever they do, whatever they decide to bring in or whatever, you know, I'm pretty sure they have a plan. But I don't really focus on what other people do. We focus on what we do in order to get better ourselves. Because we do have a lot of things that we need to fix and get better at. So my respects to whatever they do or whatever they're doing, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, I think it's a good thing, but we don't really focus on that, you know, what other people do. You know, like I said, we got to get better at our craft.
Meanwhile, Brian Norman offers a more critical perspective. He acknowledges that Boots is sensational, but argues his style doesn't truly mirror Crawford's. Norman notes that aside from physical build and power, the two fight very differently. Crawford is a master of switching stances, setting traps, and adjusting in real time, while Ennis is more explosive and aggressive. He warns that sparring with Ennis may give Canelo a challenge, but it won't perfectly prepare him for what Crawford brings to the ring.
Crawford, I don't think Crawford fight. I'm not Crawford. I don't think Boots fight like Crawford at all. That was just I think the comparison that they was making initially was just as they both were switch hitters and they both could be so naturally. That's really the only thing that they do the same. They don't do anything else the same, literally. So I never understood the comparison in that myself. But I think it's still a good look because all work is good work and you want the best work. You feel what I'm saying? So if Jaron Ennis is supposed to be the best work, even though he was a 47-pounder and not going up to 54, which is the same thing that Crawford was. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I do think that Boots getting a lot of unnecessary backlash about doing it, though. I don't agree with the backlash he's getting about, you know what I'm saying, going to spar, getting that paycheck, getting that experience. Because I think he needed it anyway. I always talk trash about him. I always stand in Philly, hiding in Philly. He don't ever want to go outside to spar. He don't ever want to go outside to do nothing else. So in this case right here, I think it's well needed for his career. It's needed for the building of a fighter. You know what I'm saying? You got to go out. You got to go in certain different types of territories and, you know, places and get that kind of work. So I mean, I think Boots getting a lot of unnecessary criticism, and if I'm defending him, you know it's real. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's getting a lot of unnecessary criticism, talking about sellout and all of that. That's some bullshit. Like,
Analyst Olau provides a sobering reminder of where Canelo stands today compared to his prime. He points back to the Golovkin rematch in 2018, calling it the last time Canelo looked unbeatable. Since then, while still elite, he hasn't looked quite as sharp. Olau questions whether sparring with Boots can truly bridge the gap between the current version of Canelo and Crawford's peak momentum. His take suggests that Canelo's camp knows extra work is needed, and that's why they brought in a challenge like Ennis.
I don't think that Crawford is fighting the best Canelo anymore. Again, the Canelo I'm talking about, I mean, second Golovkin fight, I thought was fucking incredible. That was, when was that? Jeez, that feels like a long, long time ago. Second Golovkin fight was 2018. So I'm saying peak Canelo, although still very, very good people, peak Canelo for me was 6 years ago. It's a long time, or 5.5 years. That's a long time. In fact, exactly 15th of September. So it'll be to the day 5 years. Have I got them? What was I talking about? Sorry, almost 7 years ago. Jeez, that's a long time ago. Where some might say peak Crawford was Errol. So, shit, I didn't realize how long ago that was. And he's clearly not that same guy anymore. It clearly isn't. He's no longer fighting elite fighters. I mean, unless you're going to say William Skull was elite, Edgar Berlanga, no, Munguia, no, Jamel, no, John Ryder, no, third Golovkin fight, no. So he's no longer fighting the best, but he still is very good, and he's still a top 168 pounder. And I think this is why people are saying it is a 50-50 fight now, because we can see the deterioration in Canelo. Like, say what you want about William Skull, Canelo looked poor in that fight as well. Everyone's like, oh, William Skull ran. Well, Canelo didn't cut off the exits. Canelo wasn't great himself. Canelo's punch output was horrendous. So we can clearly see the deterioration. That said, he is the naturally bigger guy. I just mentioned the fact that Crawford's put on size, but the naturally bigger guy in this weight class is Canelo. That has to count for something. We know Canelo's been able to absorb punches from the naturally bigger guys. I mean, barely anyone's put a dent in this guy, right? That's how good his chin is. Maybe the best chin in boxing. It's frightening. But the legs have slowed down. The output has slowed down as well. And I always think about, with Canelo, desire and want and will. I always sort of say, where is that desire?
Other analysts agree that sparring with Jaron Ennis brings undeniable benefits. They highlight his speed, angles, and relentless pressure, qualities few can replicate in sparring. Facing that day after day sharpens Canelo's reflexes, timing, and mental toughness, conditioning him for Crawford's unpredictability. While experts admit Crawford and Ennis have differences, they insist this type of preparation is exactly what separates great fighters from the rest.
Means that he did get work. That's what that means to me. That's what you need. I don't want Canelo in camp beating up nobody. I want people beating up on him. I want people putting in that work, giving him looks he ain't seen. So that's what's going to make him ready for Crawford. I don't want to see smiling Canelo. I don't want to see Canelo happy. That means he did good the first time they sparred. No, I want him frustrated and angry. That's how it's supposed to be. Bring somebody in camp, they give you that work. Even Mayweather talked about how Earl Spence gave him that work when he was trying to get him ready for a fight. Because by the end of the camp, Canelo will be the one smiling.
I love it. I'm going to tell y'all why I love it. I'm going to tell y'all why I love this shit. I was wondering, I wonder who Canelo has in camp with him to prepare for Bud, because I know Shakur Stevenson's not going to help him.
Johnny Ortiz shares a passionate take, calling the partnership a brilliant decision. He argues that Boots is the closest thing to Crawford that Canelo could possibly find, making him the ideal sparring partner. Ortiz adds that the collaboration benefits both sides. Ennis gains invaluable experience from a champion like Canelo, while Canelo gets elite preparation. He praises the move as rare, mutually beneficial, and strategically perfect.
Makes sense, and it's definitely a good experience for both. Eddie Reynoso and Canelo, shout out to them, because now it shows that they serious with a real game plan, and Boots is, to me, everybody's a perfect opponent. I wouldn't say opponent, perfect sparring partner to have to replicate Crawford, because they both switch hitters and stuff like that, and they got dog in them and reflexes for sure. So it shows Canelo serious, and on Boots end, to be able to spar a Hall of Famer, top tier guy, is gave him great experience, and you could tell he really wants it.
Been seeing mixed reviews. You got a portion of the fans that are just shocked that this happened. You got a portion of the fans that's like, yay, Canelo now has the edge. Those will be Canelo fans, and you got Terence Crawford fans that I'm seeing calling him a traitor. You know, you already know the other word.
Yeah, it's a difference between a fans. There's Terence Crawford fans, which is cool. Then there's a Terence Crawford, I call them bud clowns, where all of a sudden they want to act like Dr. Umar and shit. They want to be fake woke. Like, woke for what? Like, it's a sport where Boots is getting an opportunity to spar a Hall of Famer. Who cares? And in reality, what the fuck loyalty does Boots owe to Crawford when it comes to the sport of boxing? I mean, Crawford didn't do shit even back while Boots was trying to get his opportunity when it was Spence and Crawford. Every time Boots' name got mentioned, you heard the bud clowns be like, oh yeah, he don't deserve it. Oh, who did he fight? Oh, who this and that, man. I ain't trying to hear that shit. It's like different shit that you need to be woke up outside of boxing. Boxing is a sport. There's shit that we need to really come together. I didn't see y'all come together like 5 years. The bud clowns, because it's real fans, the bud clowns is bashing PBC.
Supporters of Canelo's camp also point out the similarities between Boots and Crawford. Both are athletic, switch stances fluidly, and carry knockout power that demands constant adjustments. For them, bringing Ennis into camp proves Canelo is leaving no stone unturned. It sends a message. He's not underestimating Crawford at all, but instead preparing for every possible scenario.
But this is a big deal because not only did he come in and train with Canelo, it looks like some sparring went down, as you can see here, posted by the Ring magazine, Canelo and Boots Ennis standing there together. By the way, Boots Ennis looks bigger than Canelo in this picture. And we all know that Canelo's not a massive 168-pounder, but Boots Ennis at 147 was having trouble making the weight still, is going to 154, just so happens to be the two weight classes that Terence Bud Crawford just came from, 147 to 154. Boots has a fight coming up soon for his debut at 154. You have to think sooner or later he's going to be grabbing a belt because he's in a title eliminator coming up anyway. But again, it's very interesting because we all know how good Boots Ennis is, and it's interesting for a couple of reasons. Number one, you look at this picture, and Boots Ennis is a monster. I can see him going to 160 pounds and still doing very well. I think he's going to do great at 154. But the question you have to ask yourself is why? Why would Canelo bring in Jaron Boots Ennis? And it's not just because Ennis is a great boxer. It's not just because Ennis fought at the highest level of 147 and is going to be at the highest level of 154, so he's a smaller guy that Canelo can use in camp to see how a smaller guy of this era moves, as Canelo's maybe not had as much experience with that since moving to 168. Usually he's the smaller guy fighting some of the bigger guys. But that's not all this is.
Still, critics remain skeptical. They argue that Ennis, no matter how talented, cannot replicate Crawford's unique mindset and fight IQ. Some even believe the move could backfire if Canelo relies too much on sparring comparisons. They highlight that while Ennis is a brilliant fighter, preparation is never just about styles. It's also about mentality, psychology, and adapting in real time. In short, sparring helps, but it does not guarantee success against someone as adaptable as Crawford.
39 big wins by way of knockout will not learn and not be able to pick up from Jaron Boots Ennis sparring Canelo Alvarez. There's an uproar because Jaron Boots Ennis, African-American fighter, black boxer, has joined the Mexicans camp to help prepare the Mexican fighter, Canelo Alvarez, defeat another African-American fighter, which he needs Jaron Ennis to give him looks of the undefeated pound-for-pound king, 4-division world champion, 2-division undisputed world champion, superstar boxer who will be a first ballot Hall of Famer once he retires as well, in Terence Bud Crawford, who has 41 wins, no loss, no draw, 31 wins by way of knockout.
And that wraps it up for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates as we move closer to Fight Night.